coming up.
Forgive me for not joining in the chorus and singing along with your notion on your liberal side of Kumbaya. Instead, Minister, during your time in office, your record is one of failure.
Has said that there are sitting MPs in Parliament.
Point of order, Mr. Chair. Madam Chair, sorry. Pardon. Just,
This guy's garage. Like and subscribe.
Forgive me for not joining in the chorus and singing along with your notion on your liberal side of Kumbaya. Instead, Minister, during your time in office, your record is one of failure. Minister, sadly, under your watch, Mexico has now become the United States' biggest trading partner. No longer is it Canada. Minister, given your record, Canadians can be excused for harboring some concerns regarding your government's negotiating skills. Minister, you talked about standing up for Canada and CUSMA. Essentially, you were presented a deal. The United States and Mexico had come to an agreement. It's either take it or leave it. That's what your stand had taken, Minister. Minister, despite CUSMA being negotiated, there's still issues such as rules of origin, dairy, steel and aluminum, digital services tax, forced labor, softwood. Softwood for 9 years now. We've had past witnesses testify that the U.S. is most likely to use this review to push its views on current trade disputes to obtain more favorable outcomes. How does Canada respond when the U.S. Trade Representative, Catherine Tai, has already indicated at a Brookings Institute event in March? The question is always going to be, do you have enough? Have you changed the leverage composition to get the political solution you need? Minister, how do you respond?
Let me start with your contention that we took any deal. To the contrary, we wanted a good deal, and only a good deal for Canada. You might remember that you and your colleagues suggested that we just take any deal. We didn't do that. We protected dispute settlement, we protected the cultural industries, and we protected IP. That's what we did in renegotiating CUSMA. Today, it is, and it continues to be, a hallmark agreement to create competitiveness for our workers and for our people while fighting climate change and transitioning our economy so that they can be strong in creating jobs. The various issues that you raised are, of course, important ones. And in a trade relationship that's nearly $2 trillion, you would expect that there are issues, and those issues are being dealt with. I'm happy to take, to answer each of them individually, but suffice it to say that that in this review, the work that we need to do in all of my conversations with American businesses, with American labor, workers, Canadians, providing stability and certainty is what we must do, because our competition is not in North America. It's what we need to strengthen in our competition.
Well, let me just build on that. One recent witness who appeared at the last hearing, Meredith Lilly from the Simon Reisman Chair of International Economics at Carleton, she talked about this review and taking a three-pronged approach. First, the need to be proactive, and that's why we're meeting here today. Need to demonstrate that, the three parties, how the agreement is beneficial to all, including dispute settlement. And third, to address the elephant in the room, which is China, and the recent tariffs both the U.S. and the EU have undertaken. Canada needs to address Chinese overcapacity. Minister, on May 14th, the U.S. acted and placed tariffs, not only on steel and aluminum, but also on EVs coming in from China. And then the EU responded again, just as of yesterday. So why is it taking so long for Canada to respond and look into this matter?
Canada has been at this matter from day one. And let me be clear to everyone here in this committee and to Canadians who are watching. Canada is not going to be a backdoor to the U.S. market or a dumping ground for unfairly traded goods. We've been very clear about that. Canada is committed to building a EV supply chain for the future of North America. Canada and the United States have been building automobiles for over 100 years. The auto sector is changing dramatically, but Canada is well positioned, from critical minerals to batteries to the assembly and the production of electric vehicles, it's going to be made in Canada, and we're going to protect our Canadian workers. We have...
Minister, just building on that, if I could, then. So why is Ford Motor Company said it's going to slow production of its EV production to 2027? The GM facility in my community, just next to my riding, has already indicated it's going to slow down the timing of its EV battery production. There are 300 employees that have been laid off. Their V6 line has already been torn out, and GM has made the decision that it's not ready to proceed. We've had witnesses like Brian Kingston come forward saying there's a disconnect between this government's economic, environmental policies and its investment policies. And we're looking for alignment with what's going on in the United States, for example, in terms of the EV. So how is it that we can facilitate the growth of the EV market in Canada when we can't get a critical mineral mine built for 15 years? Our supply chain is not there, Minister. I mean, we're not getting sales by Canadians to buy EVs because the cost is too high in this country. We're going to become a dumping ground for China, which has dominated the EV market. So how is it that we're going to respond to that?
Well, I would like to talk up the Canadian economy on this side. And
Tell that to the 300 workers who are now laid off.
Well,
At the GM facility, a place that I used to work at, Minister. There's 300
Point of
people
order,
that are
point
no
of
longer
order.
working there.
The minister to respond. You have no time left as it is.
Point of
Minister,
order,
if you'd like to
Madam
respond.
Chair.
I'm sorry. Yes.
We got to be mindful of the interpreters. We've already been through certain areas. If two people are talking at the same time, that's not good for interpreters. So I would ask that when questions are asked to the minister, that we let the minister respond and that we respect the folks that are interpreting for those that are
Thank
trying to
you
have a
very much for
conversation.
raising that issue. Minister, I turn the floor over to you.
Sure. It is precisely a plan for the environment that has created the billions of dollars of investment into the EV supply chain, all the way from critical minerals to processing to the building of the batteries. I don't need to repeat the investments, whether it is from Stellantis or most recently with Honda or Volkswagen, some of the most significant. Those batteries and those cars are going to be built in Canada, and it's going to create thousands upon thousands of jobs in Canada. And it isn't just in the automobile floor shop. It is going to be the entire value chain and supply chain, which is what is also very exciting, the kinds of investments that are being made to make sure that workers in places like Windsor who were not seeing growth are now so excited. Small businesses are growing. Workers and homes are being built. It is exciting, and it is because of a plan on the environment, a plan to be able to build electric vehicles, and the investments that are here, and that work is very well underway.
As you know, this directly relates to CUSMA because in the first version of CUSMA that we're thinking of looking at again right now, one of the major things that came out of it was getting rid of the Section 11, the ISDS part that was in NAFTA, and eliminating that for trade between Canada and the United States. And I guess I have two questions there. One is I hope that we will continue that. Minister Freeland made a big point of saying what a wonderful thing that was to not have that ISDS provision in CUSMA. And so I hope that we retain that. But it also remains in place. Those ISDS provisions remain in place in regards with trade with Mexico. And there are some people that would like to make sure that it's stronger and expanded. And I'm just wondering if you could comment on that, what Canada's stance would be on investor-state dispute mechanisms if we did reopen CUSMA for renegotiation.
Well, I think that it bears repeating and clarification. The 2026 review is not a renegotiation; it is a review, and we were very proud of the work that was done when it was renegotiated, and ISDS is no longer there, and that position for us hasn't changed.
Minister, from 2001 to 2015, Canada saw a very consistent and steady inflow of investment from the U.S. to Canadian businesses and workers. Since 2015, just 9 years into your government's mandate, that's fallen off a cliff. In fact, there's hundreds of billions of dollars of outflow from Canada into U.S. Why?
Well, I think a $1.9 trillion investment, trading relationship would contradict that.
Why is there a bigger outflow of investment from Canada, Canadian businesses and workers going to the U.S. so that the U.S. workers can get stronger paychecks than Canadians?
I would say that the inflow of incredible investments here in Canada that's creating enormous Canadian jobs, along with the co-investments and the co-collaborations between Canadian companies, innovative companies on a whole range of sectors, is contrary to exactly what you just said.
Can you give me a total of how much inflow has come in the last 9 years? Just a number.
I don't have the direct numbers, but my officials can follow up and give them to you.
I can tell you what the outflow was, though. It was $460 billion that left Canada. The inflow that was once there fell off a cliff, and now there's outflow, more than whatever's coming in, just of 9 years. Can you square that up for Canadians, why that happened?
What I can swear up for Canadians is the importance of this relationship and the benefits to jobs that are growing in Canada as a direct result of this excellent trade agreement.
So you use the word excellent. Canada's in a productivity crisis. 7 straight quarters of GDP per capita decline, and GDP per capita is at lower. It's at the same rate as it was in 2014. Do you think your government chasing out $460 billion of investment was helpful for productivity?
That's your contention. It's not what the numbers show.
The numbers right in front of me, there's a report that says $460 billion. Actually, the Bank of Canada, you don't want to take my word, the Bank of Canada said Canada's productivity is a break glass emergency. It's a crisis right now. Do you not believe them? Are they lying?
What I would say is that we're very proud that today, post-pandemic, there is 1.3
You're proud that Canadians
jobs.
are getting poorer?
No, I'm proud that there's 1.3 more Canadians that are working since post-pandemic.
But Canadians are poorer. What's to be proud about that?
We're proud that we've got the lowest unemployment rate. We're proud that Canadian workers, particularly in areas like the electric vehicle supply chain, is growing. We're proud that we are leaders in places like AI. We're proud that we're strong, energy, hydrogen developing economy that will provide that in the future into the United States as well as into other trading partners.
So respectfully, Minister, you haven't answered why you're proud of Canadians being poor. But I have to move on because I only have a limited amount of time. There's that recent NCCOP report has said that there are sitting MPs in Parliament.
Point of order, Mr. Chair. Madam Chair, sorry. Pardon. Just the line of questioning has nothing to do with CUSMA.
Point of order.
Just, we're here to talk about CUSMA, not foreign interference.
Point of order.
Yes.
So, Madam Chair, usually members are given the opportunity to ask the full question, to give the full context of what they're asking before a member jumps in, doesn't cite which rule was broken in the member's question he was asking. I understand he wants to protect the minister, but you should at least let the members finish the question so you can hear how security is related to trade.
Mr. Helen, would you continue, please?
There's MPs sitting in this House today, according to the NCCOP report, that are working in the best interest of foreign hostile regimes. This is well known around the world. It's embarrassing for Canada under your government that this has happened, even though your government knew about it since 2020. And more importantly, with our trading partners or allies. What trust would our allies have in any type of agreements with Canada if there are sitting MPs that could possibly be involved in those?
Point of order, Madam Chair. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Mr. Hallen, the minister is here to answer questions on the CUSMA review. If you could direct your question there, would be appreciated. It is the CUSMA review we're doing.
Absolutely, but it does tie in with trade, and she is the trade
that's
minister.
going about it in a very sideways
I mean,
way.
trade and security is a part of the minister's mandate, is it
You
not?
have 30 seconds remaining. If you could direct it to the CUSMA review, it would be appreciated. That's what the minister is here to speak to.
Minister, how can our allies trust that sitting MPs would be making the best trades that are in the best interest of Canadians and not for foreign hostile regimes?
Maybe a way to answer this would be, because I'll make it about CUSMA, that in the last Free Trade Commission, which was just about 3 weeks ago in Arizona, that trilaterally we are committed to working to ensure that policies or practices that that may be unfair and injurious to the Canada, U.S. and Mexico agreement is something that we will work trilaterally to make sure that we stand up to and that we defend.
What will you do to reassure Quebec dairy producers that you will protect supply management?
Well, I think you mentioned a piece of legislation that is making its way through Parliament, and the government has been supporting that. I think the proof is in the pudding, which is that we successfully defended it in the last in the negotiation of CUSMA, and we're going to continue defending the supply management system in Canada.
Okay. Mr. Cannings for 2.5 minutes, please.
Madam Chair, before my colleague asks, I was just wondering, just based on your comments there, with the understanding that the minister has a tight schedule and could be leaving shortly, and I was just, given the importance of the topic and our most important trading relationship, I was hoping perhaps the minister would consider one additional round of questionings, maybe even for 3 minutes from each side.
Well, the minister was to leave at 4:30. I'm trying to complete the round with Mr. Canning so that each party would have had another opportunity, which means it would end with Mr. Canning's with the other 2.5 minutes. Right? No one else scheduled.
That only allows essentially 2 questionings from the main parties.
There's only so much time.